I've been getting a lot of questions on stump care specifically, and it was actually kind of surprising for me how many people were requesting this. So hence why I'm going to make a video right now. But the number one issue that I have received being, over 20 years of being an amputee and being a 3-time Paralympian is like, I don't know if you could see it with the camera, but I got these like red bumps right here, right? And what they are, and even like right here, these are pressure points. And so what happened was like I lost a little bit of volume in my stump, which happens like even just from water weight. And my leg was now fitting in the socket just a little bit differently. But the thing is, I've had this happen when I was in vacuum sealed sockets, when I was in suction sockets, and also in the pin. So this really applies to everybody. And what happens is you get a pressure point, right? Or you get something, even if you're vacuum sealed, you don't have a pressure point, but you have like maybe the lotion like right here dried up. And so what happens in the vacuum seal with the polyurethane is the polyurethane sticks to your skin and starts to move like this. Now, if you're in like suction like me, what happens is you get like just anywhere on a pressure point area, the socket, wherever is like the pressure point, it's just doing like this. It's just moving like this, but it's rigid and it's irritating a hair follicle, and it can start to really hurt. And like these are pretty sensitive areas. And at first sight, when I was like a kid, a teenager, I was like, oh, it looks like a pimple. And I would try to pop it, right? Do not do this. Absolutely do not. You're immediately gonna make it worse. It's not going to pop. I promise you. It is the worst thing you could do. And so many amputees, it's like this weird thing where you just think it's gonna work and it doesn't, and it gets so swollen. This happened to a lot of Paralympians when we were in the village, in like preparing to compete, and they thought it was gonna pop and they tried it and it just made it worse, and they had to get on a bunch of ibuprofen, and it hurt when they were like walking around, and you have to walk to go to like the cafeteria and stuff. And like a lot of these guys, they're bilateral amputees, so they have to wear their legs or they're in a wheelchair. So do not do that. I'm telling you from experience, it is just going to swell up. It's immediately going to swell up and you're not going to be able to wear your leg, or if you do wear your leg, it's going to hurt a lot. Instead, just let it naturally it can get to a point where it becomes a blood blister, which has happened a lot for me, and then it just pops on its own. Where it hurt to like in the vacuum sealed socket when I was in that, it would hurt and hurt when I'm like practicing on it, but then it'd get to a point where it was like sweating and it'd slide and glide, and then I forget about it. And a lot of times, like after a few days of that, it would just like release, and whatever excess fluid was in there would just release. And then I'm good to go. And the next day the swelling and everything is fine. And you have to clean it really good though. So like immediately, like if you got antibacterial, that's great. Spray some alcohol, that's great. But shower for sure and soap after, because you don't want to get a staph infection. And I've been fortunate enough to never get one. But what can happen though is, like if you're getting bites in the back right here, and it's pinching, or it's like starting to like actually bite the back of your skin, that's different than the irritated hair follicle. Now, one can come before the other, but the thing is, when you get the bites, right, when it's like it's pinching muscle and skin, you'll know the difference. You will absolutely know the difference. It'll start to swell up and it can get hard. It's kind of like cauliflower ear, if you ever wrestled or anything. And it can form in your leg, right? And this happened to me in the back of my leg, and this happened in 2021 preparing for Paris. And what I had to do is I had to go to the doctors and I had to get blood sucked out of my leg, back of my calf. This also happened to me when I was in wrestling in high school, and I had like golf balls on my knee, and it hurt so bad, you have no idea. So I had to get blood sucked out of that the day before the competition or the match, and the next day I wrestled, and it hurt a lot, but I was still able to wrestle. So that's what you do when it really swells up. You go to the doctor and you get it drained. If it's like biting and it's really bad, or if it's just really swollen. If it's like a golf ball, dude, go get it drained. And the other option though, which I do before I get to that point, if it's a irritated hair follicle, is tea tree oil. It's so simple. And this one thing will make a difference overnight. I promise you. So the back of my knee, like there's one spot that's still kind of bugging me right here, but like I had all these other spots here that are now pretty much diminished. And it's amazing because all I did was put tea tree oil on the spot right before bed. Took a shower, tea tree oil, just put it on my finger, threw it on there, and I went to bed. And the next day, the swelling and the redness greatly diminished. Also, it helps dry out the hair follicle. It's kind of like a pimple, you know? So like there's some fluid that starts to build up in there because it's inflammation. It's telling your body, hey, I need to go heal this area. So this helps decrease inflammation and it helps dry it out a little bit. And in my experience, which has been so many times, this is the go-to. I've had other amputees that didn't trust me or believe me, and they would wear these like little donut things, which can provide a little bit of help and support if it doesn't bother you when you're wearing it, but that's just temporary. And I promise you, even still, like you want tea tree oil at night and you want to just chill, keep your leg off if you can. But if you can't, like this whole week, I still had I was like, I need to go walk my dog and stuff, but it was kind of bugging me. And so like at night, I was on my feet all day. At night, just put it on. Wake up the next day, I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. Nice. And like the other areas have healed. It's just like now this one area that, kind of came up, I think, yesterday. So it's like all those other areas for the past, like this past week, like were like different spots, but those all, boom, healed. And just tea tree oil. So this is my skincare go-to. I don't use anything else. And I just make sure that I really clean my liners. I know people have asked me like, how do you clean your liners? Well, I just bring it in the shower with me. I bring it in the shower because I need to put this back on after I take a shower. So I just bring my liner in the shower with me and I use my body wash and I clean this. And then that way I can put my liner back on. Like after I grab a towel, dry it, put my liner back on, then I can step immediately into my leg before I leave the shower. So I don't have to go hopping around, you know? And you kind of want to avoid that because you don't want to trip getting out of the shower. You don't want to, fall. And I do shower without my leg on because I need to wash my liner. So it's super simple. I have also though, if I have multiple liners, like one's just for practice, one's for walking around after, which I kind of felt was like inconvenient because then you have two liners. Like if you go from practice and then you like go to another liner, like that liner now is getting dirty from the sweat. Or if you shower and then you put that one on, well, you might as well just take it in the practice one in there and clean it anyways. But regardless, another option is like these Oster liners are pretty durable. Like I just throw in the wash on cold and put laundry detergent in there. Vinegar would be like a pretty good option, like clean option if you are like, like a health freak like me. So I try to not do any like paraben, fragrances, any of those like endocrine disruptors because my hormone levels are important to me. I'm a professional athlete. Like, come on, we got to take care of the body and your hormones because those help you heal. So if you're interested in skincare, then you should also be interested in the whole body. So I personally just take this in the shower, super easy, clean it off. That's good to go. If the outside really gets like dirty and stuff, dude, just tossing it in the wash machine and it's really simple. So don't need it complicated. Never used one of those wand cleaners except when I was at the prosthetist shop. So I don't have one of those. And the only experience was just cleaning it one day, which is probably really great, antimicrobial and stuff like that. But I don't have one and I haven't used one for 20 years. I only used it one time in 20 years and I haven't had any staph infections or anything. And I'm constantly sweating, constantly beating up my limb. I've been bleeding out of my limb too from like blood blisters. So I've been good. Just tea tree oil and washing my liner in the shower. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any more questions.